Good evening to you, and thank you for tuning in to your favorite evening talk show right here on MX24 TV. My name is Oforiwaa, and this new season, I know you guys like it because for the first time in forever, you saw a couple of guys in the studio, and in my DMs, you are still asking for the guys. Hey, we are trying to bring them, but it's like they are running away from us, the girls, so they feel like if they come and sit in the studio with us, because it's a dish and the girls are going to be dishing out, they can't really, keep up with us, but we are trying. So if you think you have what it takes to join us in the studio for the conversations that are thought-provoking and intriguing, just send us a DM and then we'll reach out to you. Of course, this is an interactive show, and then your views, comments, and opinions are very much welcome and needed. So please send them through our WhatsApp number, and also you can send it through our socials with the hashtag The Dish on MX24 TV. This is one favorite thing that I like to talk about because many a times people, it tends to be conflicting when discussed, the career woman or the housewife. We are not here to shame anybody or to make anybody feel any type of way, but we are here to just shed some light and then inform you if you're not properly informed so as to know what your path should be. So of course, women always grow, or we've grown to learn and unlearn better things and to also better ourselves in our everyday lives. We're just speaking in the studio, and then I was telling my guests that, yeah, every day is an opportunity for us to learn. So we as women, we learn every single day. But then society turns to always want us to go back to the days of the past and do things the traditional way. But in the woke world right now, we try to go as things evolved or the world evolves and better ourselves, better our children, better our society. Because like, if you educate a woman, they say you educate what? A whole community. And so yes, whilst we are doing that, are other things being left behind whilst we turn to purchase our to chase after our career? Do we leave some parts of our lives behind, such as our home, our relationships, our marriages, and all of that? Those who decide to also be full-time, respectfully housewives, do they lose anything when it comes to other women in their career path? Do they choose to lack out on anything? By the close of the show today, we are sure that we are going to learn a thing or two, or even learn a whole lot more about being a career woman or being a housewife. Like I said, we are not here to make anybody feel any type of way or feel bad because of what they have chosen to be. But of course, we know that in as much as you would want to be a housewife, there is something in you that you find fulfilling. Everybody finds fulfillment in what they do. So for a person to say that I'm going to dedicate myself 24/7 to nurturing my children and nurturing my home or the environment, then it means that they find fulfillment in it. Last week, our guest Felicia made mention that her mother finds so much fulfillment in just taking care of the house, taking care of her kids, her family, and all of that. My mother does the same. But there are other people that cannot sit at home without doing anything. They want to find something they're passionate about, chase it wholeheartedly. So what is your choice, or what is your take when it comes to being a career woman or being a housewife? And you as a woman, which is your decision? Do you feel like you're lacking out, or do you feel left behind because of a decision you made? Do you feel you do not belong to the society or the traditional society, as we call it or as we term it, because of a choice you made? Can we make you feel better by the close of the conversation tonight? Let us hear from you. Send in your views, your comments, your thoughts, and your suggestions, if you have any, to our WhatsApp number. And then I'll read it out for you. But mind you, there's no wrong or right choice in this. It is what you care about, or what you're passionate about, or what you find fulfilling. So yeah, being a housewife or being a career woman, of course, it comes with its own pros and cons and all of that. We're going to dig into that. And to joining me in the studio for this conversation tonight, we have two amazing intellectuals, and they are pretty ladies. Yeah. So we have Precious Bones, who is right next to me, and she's the founder of the WIT Schools. And I think an ambassador should be the very famous Cuckoo on Instagram. We all know Cuckoo, and apparently, yeah, that's where Cuckoo School. So hi, good evening.
Hello.
Welcome to The Dish.
Thank you for having me.
I love the conversation we had about your school before coming on, but then I'll come to you so that you tell us a bit more about it. Let me go ahead and introduce our next guest, and she is Kaisa, and she's a social media manager and a content creator, and also a past queen of Miss Malaika 2021.
2020.
2020, right.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You all look lovely, by the way.
Thank you. And so do you.
Thank you. And so in a bit, we will be joined, or hopefully we'll be joined by, via Zoom by Mrs. Selassie Doku, who is a licensed counselor. So we'll find out from her, and then if possible, if she's had any of these concerns come to her for any sort of wisdom and how she dealt with it, or how she advises that it is dealt with. Ladies, once again, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so quickly, just in a few seconds, tell us about the WIT School.
Okay, so the WIT School is an innovative elementary school.
Okay.
Started in June 2018 to kind of bridge the gap between what is being taught in school and what children leave schools with.
Okay.
So I often say that many are in school, but few are learning. A lot of us graduate school and still struggle to do basic things. Very basic things. Typing a letter, sending an email, presentation of your thoughts and ideas, tapping into your talents and making sure that what you were born with is nurtured. All these things are things that I felt the programs and the way schools are structured.
Right.
I mean, it's a worldwide problem, but the question is, what were we doing about it? And so I began the school to just do a very disruptive thing. So it's a very innovative school, from the way it's set up to the children not walking inside classrooms with shoes. Yes, it works on their nervous systems.
Okay.
From taking water breaks, from making sure that whatever they are doing is play-based or project-based. So all of these things makes it a very unique school.
So basically, is everything that the regular school is not?
Yes, and we have been nicknamed the baby university.
Nice. I like that. And then we can all attest to Cuckoo.
That is
because
true.
the kind of thing
He can think, right?
I told you.
Yeah.
I feel like Cuckoo is an ancestor. We all say that, right? But then hearing about your school and what you put them up to,
we just give them an opportunity to explore, to express themselves.
Right.
Yeah. It's really good.
I think you guys are doing an amazing job. I wish I could go back to being a baby and then come and start all over again. This isn't to say that my schools didn't do any good. They did amazing. So, ladies, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, I do not know what you think. First and foremost, let's start off with your thoughts on who a housewife is and who a career woman is. And if you think any is better than the other. I'll start off with you, Kaisa.
I feel, or I think a housewife is someone who has dedicated her whole life, or from the time she's married till forever, to making sure the house is well kept, making sure the children are really good, your husband is good, everybody is good, and she finds joy in that, like in that. So hopefully, some do, some don't. But yes, and a career woman is someone who feels I can have it all, I can still take care of my home, or maybe get help to assist me with the home
and chase my dreams.
But trying to marry the two
together.
Yes, so that's what I think.
Simply put, and I like that. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I do, in part. I think that housewife is a bit outdated. We can call it a house manager.
Thank you.
I agree with that.
So,
for a lack of a better word,
a homemaker, a home manager, things like that, because it's just an unpaid work. And to be fair, I think that if you're a man and you hire nannies and you pay them, maybe you should pay your wife if she's decided to quit her job to take care of the home. And for me, I believe that both of them are equally important and needed. For so many homes, it's almost impossible for there not to be a home manager.
Right.
Because of, for instance, the way they want their children to be raised, the kind of values and principles that they want their children to have. And so to them, they don't think that it's possible for any external person to do that job. which is okay. Some also give themselves some time, some years, that in the next 10 years, this person is going to, because there are some homes that the men are the home managers.
Yeah.
So maybe the woman earns more, and so I'm going to take out the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and by the time my child is 9 or 10, then I can get back. The career woman, I believe that that's also, so the career woman is not as straightforward as
we make it sound, right?
the housewife and home manager, because there are full-time career women who are full-time home managers as well, and full-time everything else. And so for them, there are two categories. You can have the full-time, I only work, I have nannies to take care of everything. That kind of looks like the Kim Kardashian way.
Bougie.
So for them, they don't have to be so hands-on with their children. But then they have people who are taking at least 80% of that job is theirs. But then there's also a career woman who is not really in tune with what's happening at home.
Exactly.
And I guess that's where society always comes into attack, because your mother, you should know, you know,
don't even know when you're back.
They don't know
They
when
don't
you're
see
back.
you.
You know, birthdays, you do Zoom calls to say happy birthday. And when the men do that, nobody calls them out. But when we women do that, then that's when they are coming for us. So for me, I think that we do have women who are actively working and still taking care of their homes. Then we have those that are trying to balance the two. Then we do have the home managers who their job is to take care of the home, and I'm advocating that they get some daily stipend just to for motivation, right?
Great. I like both submissions, and thank you for that new word. We are going to rephrase now home managers or house managers, right? Sounds better. Okay, so now in our part of the world, right, we are made to think that, or we growing up, as long as I can remember, it was, the ideology was that the girl child is meant to be educated in the kitchen, whereas the male child is to be sent to school and is to be pushed to the top as far as they want to go. But with the evolvement of time, things have changed, right? And now we know that girls can equally lead as much as guys lead. And so if the guy is given this opportunity, likewise, give it out to the lady as well. So in this instance where no matter how far you want to go, tradition is tradition. And we can't even flee from it. We can't make excuses for it, because there's definitely someone who is going to draw you back and tell you that this is not what tradition says or whatever. And we respect tradition, right? So how then do you explain, just like you said, the attacks come in when the mother is basically almost always away. Right? And then you don't have a much relationship with your kids or with the home. Husbands tend to miss their wives, and before you know, there's an affair happening with the nanny or whoever. When these things come up, how then do you come and defend that I am on the street? Just like you said, the men do it, and it's like, I'm working 2-4-7 to put for the food on the table.
Even the wives make excuses for them.
Exactly.
How then how would you be able to tell tradition, or in this instance, how do you marry tradition and today, the world of today, that, okay, it is possible, I can do this and do that, or I can afford extra help, and so I can pay for it, and I need to come home, take care of the family. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do my motherly duties or my wifey duties, right? How do you marry the two to make it make sense to the traditional man or family or system that we have?
Okay, who's gonna go?
You go
You
first.
go first. I think she's putting it together.
All right, so I think, one, everybody should look at what works for them, right? The moment you decide to live for society or to make decisions based on how are people going to perceive me as a mother, that's when you start making the wrong decisions. If you listen to too many people for advice, you end up choosing the wrong advice. You need to look at your household. Financially, what is more feasible?
Okay.
For so many people, it's more feasible for the woman to be home for a certain period because they can't even afford external help. For some families, they can, and so they can do that.
Right.
For others, they are thinking it's not even about the money, it's about who my child is, accessing.
Around.
Yes, what are their values, what are their principles. And so it's not about feeding them and cleaning their bum bum. It's really about, are they being insulting, and is your child picking up those things? How do they speak like? How do they think? These are things that parents don't see, but intrinsically it imprints on your children.
Yeah.
That's why you can see very awesome parents and their child is acting as though they don't live in that house because the nanny is the primary caregiver.
Yeah.
And so if she speaks in a very insolent way, that child is going to
Pick it up.
take on that kind of character. And so first, do not try to conform to what society is looking at you to do.
Okay.
But perception is also very important.
Yes.
You don't want to be in a society where people perceive you to be an outlier. Because what then happens is that the judgment, if it comes to you, you're going to start to react to it. Because then, oh, she's such a bad mom. Your child might even hear that. Teachers might be saying, this
Yes.
mother never comes for any PTA meeting. She doesn't even care. Every day it's daddy, 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 right? And because you don't want to have that, balance is what I'd recommend.
Okay.
We do have 24 hours, but you can still want more if you don't manage your time properly. And so I think that families should have a time management system.
Okay.
When people ask me as a teacher, how do you manage 30 kids in a day? Schedule.
Yeah.
Schedule. Have a plan, have a schedule, prioritize certain things. Even if you're away Monday to Friday and your children get to spend full days with you on Saturday and Sunday,
Mix
they would
up.
appreciate that. And then you can catch up with where you left off.
True.
Because I always tell parents, don't get overwhelmed because the children really don't care about the quantum of time. They care about the quality of time. Teachers get to spend maybe 2 hours per period with them, but they mention my name in the house every single day because I made an impression. It's the quality of time. It's when they came to me and asked me, can I have water? And I was kind enough to open the top for them. So these are the little nuances that you can have at home. They know that mom has to go to work because you want a new toy car? That's how you get a new toy car. She loves you to bits, but then the time they see you at home is not the time that you're responding to 50 emails,
Emails and all
700 Zoom calls, because then they're thinking, because there are also home managers whose children still feel neglected.
Yes.
You can be physically present and not be there.
Emotionally
Yes.
absent.
Right? So for me, I think that find what works for the home. Financially, does it make sense? Societally, does it make sense? Put that all together and carve out a unique culture for your home.
Okay.
This is how we do it over here. My parents had to give me to my grandmom because that's what worked for them. And I tell parents, the fact that you've birthed a child does not mean you are the sole person, sole human being in this world that can take care of that child. Sometimes, maybe their first, because we did that for the first 10 years of our lives, and we turned out great. And we were grateful for that because I'd rather have a stable home with an auntie, an uncle, a grandmother, than to be having parents who are juggling things, because like I said to you, it's about the quality of time that you get to spend with the children. And society should be kinder. We don't know what's happening in people's homes. Oh, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you come home and see what's really happening? And then you can now pass proper judgment. And so for me, nobody should ever feel guilty. But if you can and you can manage your time, I think that the women we're in a better position to take care of the children. I
Okay.
tell you this.
Okay.
And so we should take on that.
Okay. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I agree with it.
Completely.
Completely.
Really?
I don't have anything more to add.
Okay, great. So then let me come to you with this.
Yeah.
Does a woman's life or should a woman's life change after marriage? Because I know someone who is so bent on making so much money now that she's unmarried because she believes that once she gets married, things are going to change. So whatever she can acquire or achieve now, she wants to build up her bank account. She wants to make everything, like she's in a haste to build up, you know, because after marriage, what if my husband wants me to just take care of the children?
Right.
My parents didn't want a nanny. What if my husband is that traditional
Type, yeah.
and wouldn't want an outsider to raise their kids? Do you get? Should a woman's life change after marriage?
I won't say it shouldn't, but definitely it will change to some extent. It's
Okay.
up to you to narrow it down to what level of change you want it to go to. So, for example, if for me, I won't say marriage will change me completely because I believe whoever I'm going to end up with, I'll do the due diligence to make us understand each other on some level. So I can say I'll still be working, but there are certain things I can let go. There are certain things I won't let go.
Yeah.
I'll say I will enjoy spending time because I'm a kids person. I enjoy that. So that's something I would love doing. So yes, I can do that, but I won't say I won't be focused on my growth, my personal growth, where I want to be at, because I want to still be able to do that with somebody by my side that I call my own or somebody that I can share ideas with. So if you are bent on what if my husband wants this, then it means you are not choosing the right person for you. You should focus on choosing somebody who would complement you than someone who would just take from you. So for me, it doesn't change completely. To some extent, it will change, definitely. You become a mother, you become a wife, you have to care for your husband. It's no more just you, it's two people. So you are thinking for two people, and when kids come, it's like the whole family.
Right.
So it's no more you, it will change, but it shouldn't change to a place where you feel like, I have to do so much now because if I get married, I won't be able to do this, I won't be able to do that.
You don't think women should sabotage themselves
No.
when they are married?
No.
Why is it funny?
It's funny because I think all these conversations that we wait until post-marriage to have,
Yeah.
Should have been had earlier.
how are you now finding out that,
Your husband wants you to stay at home.
thank you, why are you now finding out that he wants 6 children and
Maybe
you
you're a
thought
sucker
you
for
wanted
love
to?
and you want to, you know, like you live for love. You want to be loved. And so you feel like this person is passionate enough and he wants you to, oh, it's just something he wants me to let go. Why not? And at least I would have him. I'd have the attention. I would have my family. You know, women we most of the time tend to sabotage ourselves and then excuse it for sacrificing. As a woman, you should be able to sacrifice this. You should be able to sacrifice for your husband. Like she said, you're thinking for two. Why won't your husband, okay, let me leave you guys to talk about this, but why do we, is it the maternal instincts we have? Is it the empathy we have? What is it that makes women turn to self-sabotage when it comes to relationships and all of these things?
The foundation of marriage, and maybe let me backtrack to love, is making sure both parties are happy. One of the things that really destroy marriages is unhappiness and unfulfillment. When one person feels that this is costing me more than necessary, where the men marry on Sunday, show up to work on Monday.
Exactly.
The women are back home putting the gifts together, calling everybody to say thank you. Calling all the photographers to make sure the pictures are being worked on. It starts from the beginning. And I often tell people that it's a recipe for disaster if you start something without counting the cost.
Right.
And without looking at the end. What is the end game?
Yeah.
Right? Am I still going to be able to do my PhD, build 700 schools all over the world, have a solid family, have a happy husband,
Yes.
great children, well educated? Am I going to not disappear entirely from my friend group? Because that also suffers.
Yes, it does.
Then how long will it take my family members to get to see me?
Yes.
So all these conversations should happen pre-marriage. And when you get to do premarital counseling, maybe that's the time to bring out all these issues so that you can tell them, I can't do 4 children. I
Right.
can only do 2 because with a woman with such and such ambition, I can't afford to have 4. So
Okay.
let's do 2. Or maybe let's start with 2 and later we can have pension babies. All of those things are necessary because that is why a lot of divorces, when you ask them, they'll say irreconcilable differences. Yes, because somebody feels that I have had to cut an arm and a leg and give a kidney
Yes.
just
you
to
did
keep this
nothing.
happening. And you are just going about your business. And so I feel that if women don't learn to really redefine what love is, which should start from self.
Right.
Because even the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself.
Preach.
You can only love somebody as
you
much,
love yourself.
and your children included. If you love yourself good, you will know how to love your children by even telling them the truth that, honey, you're going to have me on Saturday and Sunday, but Monday and Friday while you're in school, I'll also be at
working.
MX24 helping other families get better. And so these conversations, communication, when they say is key, this is what they mean. Don't be so happy with the marriage and the wedding ceremony that you forget to have these important conversations. And like I said, when I said time management, what I meant was plan your years. It's not just what you do Monday to Friday. No. In the next 10 years, this is what I'll do. I have a life plan, by
Okay.
the way. And I knew that 2 years ago was when I had to do my master's degree, and I did it. I mean,
Okay.
all things being equal, sometimes I have to shift and move things,
Yeah.
but at least there's a life plan. So whoever wants to marry me is coming into this life that has a plan.
And there's a guide to it.
And there's a guide to it. We can compromise, we can shift things. You know, babies come. I could even say, I'm too tired to do my master's while I'm having a baby. So let's move it. But at least the person knows. And I feel that women should also be kind to the men to let them know the truth. I had a conversation with a friend in Texas, and I told him that it's not fair for you to find out certain things after you marry somebody.
Right.
That you don't want to have children, that you want 7 children
That's
instead
painful.
of... It is. Or you can be a housewife. Okay. But I thought... Because
had an
sometimes
agreement
men
or-
hint a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
The thing is that
And that you're
women,
okay
we
with it.
don't talk. They do.
Yes.
A man will tell you every single thing, including, I don't want to have food in the fridge. And they are fine to tell you that.
Yeah.
But we keep quiet
Because we
and
want
don't tell them that, okay, me too, I don't like to cook. So
Right.
can we hire a chef so we are both happy? But we don't say that. And then he marries you, and the next morning, okay, are we making breakfast? And you're now coming to tell him the 10 commandments of how you don't know how to cook?
That's kind of losing them.
10
So-
commandments.
So I have a lot to say, but what I'm saying is that maybe we should all try to be like Kuku and say what exactly is on
How
our
we
minds
feel.
and how we
Oh,
feel.
God. Okay, great. So I like that. I like that we've dealt with the women who sacrifice.
Right.
Those who are able to say, okay, you know what? I can give these couple of years of my life. I can hold myself back and then just push my husband and my children. Now let's come to the one who says that, like he said, the women don't talk, right?
Yeah.
And most men like understanding women who don't talk.
Yes.
No,
Where
they
the
don't.
problem is when the man talks and you talk. You have your own mind. You are your own person. You're made. Then it becomes, she's insolent. She's disrespectful. She's rude. Society feels like, no, it's me, no. That kind of thing. But guys, so before we come to the other woman who is also ready to say, if you're going this way, I'm going that way, let's take a quick break, and then when we are back, we'll continue. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's still the dish right here on MX24 TV. And tonight, myself and my amazing guests are discussing the career woman and the home manager. We've changed it from housewife to the house or home manager.
Yeah,
and before the break, we had spoken at length about the women who hold themselves back or sacrifice themselves, their dreams and whatever, just so they can support their husbands, their homes, raise their children, nurture them. Now we are here to talk about the women who say, if a man can do it, I can equally do it. So here, equity comes to play. If you're giving a man a cutlass, why are you giving me a broom? Give me a cutlass, let's all be there. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, now, ladies, we've spoken about the understanding women, the women who say, or should I say the traditionally understanding women who say that, yes, I get it, a man must lead. So I'll fall back and then let him lead. But then there's the other side. This isn't to say that the career women or the women who turn to speak up for themselves and are made do not respect the man as the head. But then I believe that, just like we said from the beginning, right, there are men who equally turn to be home managers.
Yeah.
So there are men who would say that, you know what, my wife is making 10 times what I'm making. She's doing.
Would you want her to be?
Sit back.
Exactly.
Sit back. You even be the one picking out her clothes and all of that. So yeah, kudos to those men who say, baby girl, you're doing so well.
Yeah.
Chase your dreams. Go fly to the sky and beyond if you need to. I'm here to support. I'll take care of the home. Or we will find someone to take care of the home. Now, self-made women, you clearly are, you're made. Like, nobody's about to tell you that go to the kitchen and cook. I'm going to work. No. And so are you.
Yeah.
So how do I put it? Okay, how do those women deal in our traditional setting? Because no matter how woke or evolved we think the world is, culture is culture.
Yes.
Our traditions would not change for anything.
Definitely.
How do those women make sure that society does not judge them wrongly, or they are not, they are not judged for being what they are not simply because they can speak for themselves, and they can also say that, oh, I don't need to stay home. I can equally do this. We can do this together. So let's all fly together. How do they do this and draw the line or create a balance so that they are not judged wrongly, basically?
I would say
I like the way you took your time, like you took your breath.
Because I'm a Muslim, and my younger sister is already married.
Oh.
So it's like there is this pressure. Why are you not married? It's because you're always doing it. My aunties are just all up in my face all the time. But what I used to...
Your aunties are friends with my father.
But what I used to console myself is, I have my dad's eldest sister. She's always like, do what you have to do. Men will come.
Take your time.
The right time will come and all that. And that's because she knows, or I would say, I know what I want. I'm still figuring out. I'm on a journey to build myself up.
Right.
I don't think I would rush and then hide what is in my mind or my thoughts or what I feel just because I want to have a man. I feel a man, you get a man for you regardless. Maybe there are certain things you have to tone down and everything, but it all boils down to communication. I'm very opinionated. Like, my opinions are just there all the time. But
And you don't back down easily.
no, I would go toe to toe. Like, when we're on set and everything, trying to come up with content and everything, like, I'll go toe to toe with the guys and everything. And at the end, we all come down to figure out what we are supposed to do, and it's lovely. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't listen to a man when the person is talking to me. I'll have listening ears. I'll listen to your points and understand where you're coming from. So if I find whoever is able to trigger me in that part or that way, I'll definitely succumb to the person, because a man is definitely the leader. You can never sit down and say, the woman is this and that. Yes, we know, we all want to achieve so much, but in the home, the man is here and you are here.
Right.
Or you people are just trying to figure it out, how to work your house. So, like your question, how is the opinionated woman going to be seen in society? Society will have to find a way to accumulate me as a person. I believe the Quran says, like, the man is the leader, the lady is the follower. But in as much as the Quran is saying women are supposed to submit to the men, the Quran also says the man is supposed to respect the woman. So if you respect me enough, you would listen to what I have to say. You wouldn't feel that what I'm saying is me being rude, because I know I wouldn't tell you in an arrogant or a rude way. But if you feel so belittled by me telling you the truth, then it means that's a you problem, not a me problem. So I'd rather focus on finding somebody who would understand my direction or how I'm handling things than rather bringing myself or or whatever I believe in down. And later in life, I'll go through depression and feeling unfulfilled and starting to feel like I've achieved nothing.
And you start resenting him.
The man, you start hating him.
Yeah.
That's not something I'd want to do, because I've seen it happening. No, in my society, it happens a lot. The ladies just, as soon as a man shows interest in a woman, the whole family is like, go for him. You never know. This is your chance. Your windows will close and everything. And
like, why are they always marking our
that
calendar?
We understand we are aging. We understand, but it's all boils down to finding the person you click with. They will tell you your windows are closing. Your sister is married. Hurry up and like you never. Maybe this person.
Let the window close. The door open. Thank you. Can you imagine? The window is small. Let's it close.
Exactly. So they will end up pushing you, and ladies in the Muslim society would rush in marriage, and 2 years later, all they start doing is just giving birth, and the children are just all around, and they have nothing to hold on to, because the men would definitely say they don't want you to work.
Even with what you're saying, right? So then, if you don't even have much in you, how then do you even pour out to the kids? How do you raise your kids?
So kids are just there. They don't know what they are doing. The mother is just tired of the whole thing. It's like
she's checked out.
Like when you go to us, like our communities, like there is so much going on there regards to just pushing people in early marriage.
Is that not abuse in a way?
I don't want to go there.
It's okay. Before, let's hold our peace so that I don't land you in trouble, right? But again, right? There's this misconception that every made woman or every career woman, or majority of them, are rude. Why? And again, society also feels that, oh, as a woman, you don't even need to work yourself too much to the top. You don't need to build yourself too much. It becomes intimidating for a man. Is it my fault that a man finds my wealth or my capabilities, my accomplishments?
That's a key problem.
Intimidating. How is that a me problem?
So, for me, I think I'm the perfect description of what you're saying. Where, one, you haven't said anything, but the perception is that it will be very hard for you to find someone. That's not true. We find them all the time. It's actually very hard for us to choose.
Ooh, that's nice.
Because what she said was true. If you tell 10 men, this is my dream, this is my goal,
8 will run.
Yes. So it's the truth that scares them away. It's not that they're not coming. It's that we tell them this is where I am heading to. And the Bible will tell you that unless the two are equally yoked, how can they walk together? If I'm going to Tamale, and you are going to Australia, because you will spend about 24 hours from Ghana to Australia. I'm just flying to Tamale. And even if you're going to Tamale and I want to use STC,
that's like,
and you want to drive
2 or 3 days, I guess.
Thank you. And I want to fly, you want to walk to Tamale. So that's why I say that let the conversation start from the beginning. And the truth is that we can do all things
through Christ who strengthens us. Why am I stumbling?
We can, because if you can wake up, remember when we were in university?
Right.
People were doing side businesses, they were going to lectures, working on your thesis, your mom is calling. Women are naturally multitaskers, right? So we are wired to be able to do, we are magicians, how we get things together. I mean, this morning we had to do so many things to look like this. A man
And
would
come
just
here.
wear his shirt and he's fine. And so we've got the power to do more than we are giving credit for.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see so many home managers who could be working.
Yes.
Too many, actually. And we need them. Is that we're actually depriving society and communities of real raw talents that are hiding home just because their neighbor is doing it or their auntie would say you're not a good mom. It's because if you take Finland, for instance, their prime minister is 37 or 36. Her child is in kindergarten and she's the president of the country. She had just gotten married when she was elected to become prime minister or appointed. I don't know what they do. But the question is that how many talents are we losing on the backs of, oh no, I have to be a housewife now, I have to be a home manager. Some people's talent is managing the home
Yes.
because that's what they are wired to do.
Right.
For so many women, they become terrible home managers when they stay home because there's this withdrawal symptom they get that they are not telling us. And it's having mental health issues as well on the women.
Okay.
As somebody that runs a school, I see so many times a lot of women who walk in and I can see how depressive they look. By even the way they handle their children. It's either they are too harsh on them or they don't... They are there, but they are not there, right? And I feel that this woman only needs to start working. And you see, when it comes to, I don't think that when I get married and have children, I will be working the way I am now.
Yeah.
Of course, the changes.
I travel a lot to do consultancy all over the world. And now I can do that. When I have children, time management comes in. I will tell you, are you happy to have us have this meeting in July, August? Because that's when my children will be on vacation and I can come physically. Or my children will be in school, so then I can have some time to come meet with you. The thing that we fail to do is that the world is not going anywhere. Until you are dead, the ball keeps rolling. Which means that there are certain times that, honestly, women, we need a physical break. It's okay. And I'll tell you this, the first thing I'll do when I become president is to give 1 year maternal leave. This whole 3 months business is not working. Postpartum depression is getting out of hand. How can I have a baby in 3 months, a whole human being, and run back to work? To work as what? Manager. I mean, they have all kinds of roles, and like nothing has happened. If a doctor is to tell you what birthing does to a woman's body, soul, spirit, and mind, we need 5 years break. Apparently, we need 3 years to 5 years for our body to come back to
its original state, even though it can't get back to the original.
Thank you.
And then this isn't to cause any pain to anybody. Those who even miscarry or lose their
they have to, for them, they have to go back tomorrow. So the question is that what I was trying to put across is we can give ourselves the needed break. Don't be surprised, as ambitious as I am, if I decide when I have children, the first 3 years or 2 years, I will resign as the director of the school. I will pretend I'm going to do my PhD so I can go and sleep, right? Because then I won't be going to school. So my point is that we should be able to have a life plan and have conversations, hard conversations, and say that this is what I can do, this is what we can do. And if it's not working, is there an external person we can bring in? It could be a grandmother. It could be an uncle. It could be even putting your children in boarding school if they are at that age so you can get back to work. It's necessary for us not to lose ourselves while we're trying to save others. That's why when we get on the plane, they tell you if there's any accident, put on your mask first before you take care of other people.
Someone
else. Your kids, you have to make sure you are before you handle them.
Okay, so now let's talk about The things I wanted to say, but God knows. Let's talk about instances where the conversations happened before marriage. Everything seemed okay. Everybody seemed okay with everything, right?
And reality checks in.
Yeah. What then happens? Because sometimes men assume that, oh, she pretended until I put the ring on.
Sometimes
and I'm
they
seeing
do
who
have
she
that,
truly
yeah.
is. Sometimes the man will also play the fool and be like, babe, what do you want to do? Oh, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah.
Then you marry and he's like, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah.
What happens then? When all the right conversations were had, you thought, oh, we're on the same page. Now you are in the situation or you're on the pitch, and then you realize that whatever you saw was not the reality. What happens then?
Who's starting?
Who wants to start? Now the ball, I'm just throwing it out. Who
I
wants
feel
to?
that's why you have to have a life on your own. Because if you showed me all this and now we've gotten married and I'm using whatever we had to enter the marriage. So if now you're showing me a different part of yourself, I didn't sign up for that.
So you walk out.
I would try, like as women, it's normal. We always want to try and make things work out and everything. I would do my best to do with what we have and try and fit in because it's marriage. It's not something you just wake up and say, I'm done and everything.
Right.
But if you have love at home and for yourself, you wouldn't drain yourself just because if at that moment you're like, okay, he's the man of the house, he says that, but we agreed that I was still going to work. We agreed that we are going to find a way to work when children come in. We agreed that in the long run, people will be taking breaks in turn to like rest and everything and take care of ourselves and our mental health. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, I'm the man, do this, do that. I want fufu in the morning, banku in the
Cheeseheads.
afternoon, then in the evening, maybe I want to go light salad. Like you are giving me all See, you are giving me all these things. And I know I can't do it. It's going to drain me. And that's just you. Then imagine kids coming in then.
What if the kids are already in? Because, you know, many people stay in relationships, toxic
Just
relationships,
because of the kids.
for the sake of the children. Our parents did that.
Yeah.
Our grandparents did that. And then today you ask them, you're like, hey, but it's you try. Like,
how
because
did
I
that
won't
help us?
stand that, right?
First
How
of
did that
all,
help
I
us?
think that having this conversation, agreeing to things, and you changing your mind in the middle of the ocean, it's a person that lacks integrity. And sometimes if we really put our eyes down, there were those red flags
We
of
just
him saying,
pay
I'm going to be at
attention.
your house at 10 and showing up at 12. And he
And
trying to
also
let
being
you know that
remorseful.
some tire went bust, but you saw him at Starbites. All those things are things you need to be looking
I
out
think
for.
this is a stray bullet you're throwing at someone. Like,
The question is, I've had to have really hard conversations with people that make excuses for either the man or the woman.
Right.
If somebody does something in a different context, as a teacher, it's called transversal skills. When I teach you how to throw a spoon, if I give you a ball to throw, you will use the same knowledge you use to throw a spoon to throw the ball.
Sure.
Right? I don't have to teach you to throw different things. I just need to teach you how to throw. If a person lied to you once about where they are and you have a conversation, it's possible later on
The truth will come
the
out.
truth will come out. And then he will now be saying, well, I didn't really hear you say that. Right? And that's where the integrity part comes in. But I think what I really want to say is about children. You see, marriage is a lifetime commitment. Parenting is also a lifetime. But parenthood will last, if you're lucky, maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
After we go to uni, really, we don't come back home.
Yeah, you're adults.
It's now you and your husband, right?
Yeah.
So those children that you sacrificed everything for, they are now gone. You are now about 40, 45. You will die at 85, so you have about 40 more
It's
years.
about a waste.
what will you be doing with each other when the children are not there? Is that the time now to now start working on your diploma, your first degree, looking for a job? You haven't been working for the past 18, 20 years.
Times have changed.
Now he's saying he will open a store for you to sell some groceries. Now you're saying, what? Me? That I went to Lagos and you want me to do that? So that's when I can't believe they've been married for 20 years and they're saying they want to divorce.
Yeah.
Because now the reason that kept them together, which is the children, the woman can, what are you managing? Am I managing the furniture at home?
No.
Because the human beings are gone. When people say they want to be housewives or home managers, what they are saying is we want to take care of the children when they are young. That's what they are saying. When the children leave home, is vacant, then what are you doing? Some families, maybe the family is developing home, so the wife takes care of the project management. The husband has a corporation. She's made the COO. Something happens. But those conversations should be had because the children will not stay forever. And when they leave, that's when you will be counting the cost. And so for me, I think that the ideal situation is to carve out a particular time in the family that I want to go all in to take care of the children. No
after
work.
that period?
After that, I'll go back. Some people, I have a best friend of mine whose mom did that when they all turned, I think the last one turned 15 and went to high school. She went to do her PhD and she now lectures and she's fine. She made that decision for herself and she says it's the best decision because, and I agree, because all her children are phenomenal.
Wow.
So sometimes that's what you want to do, but you don't need to have the sacrifice cutting an arm and a leg and a kidney. It should cost you something. But if you know that you don't want to do this for the rest of your life, that's when you need to plan it out.
Right.
And seriously, I say it again, we can do both if we choose to.
Okay.
And just find help.
Okay. So we are wrapping up, but I want us to, in just like a second before we take our final words, I would want to find out from you, how about those who do not like the idea of nannies or third parties raising their children? The only people they can entrust their kids to are teachers in school, and that's about it. How about those families? What happens then?
So I think for me, anyone outside the parents, or let's call them the primary caregivers, is supposed to be support.
Okay.
It's not the actual person raising your children. They are to assist you in raising your children. And so for them, they are helping with the cleaning, because what makes it difficult is not the children. After they are fed, they are sleeping, they're playing, they are fine. It's about how much laundry we need to do. It's about the cleaning of the house. Those are the things that people struggle with when they become parents.
Okay.
So that you reserve the nurturing of your children and the passing on of the cultural values, the principles. Reserve that to mom and dad or to the immediate family. And let the external people be the supporting. So if you go to the surgery room and the surgeon is not operating on you, you will panic, because the physician assistants and all the surgical assistants, they are just passing tools to him. He's doing the real work, and parents are like that. You should be doing the surgery on your kids. Teachers should be helping you teach them, but even teachers are support. Nannies are support. If your mom comes around, she's supporting you. Do not leave. If you can make the children's grandparents their primary caregivers, which is okay, because if they raised you, then you can trust that they can raise you as well. So you can balance it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will that be your final words? Because our time is up.
Okay, so my final words are, let's just all strike a balance. Find what works for you. It doesn't have to be what the Joneses are doing. It should be what works for our family, financially, you know, mentally, does it even work? And then plan your life. When you do that, you will be fine. You
Okay.
can be both. You can be home manager, you can be career woman, or be a combination of the two.
Okay, how about you, Kaisa?
For me, I'd say just stick to what makes you happy. Like, know yourself and love yourself. That way, you'd be able to show someone how to love you. And in the long run, you translate that in your home and in your whole family. So if for you, love is being able to do everything, because some people find fulfillment in all that, being able to do everything at once,
Yeah.
go for it. If yours is to stay at home and just take care of the home, go for it. And if yours is to just focus on your career, go for it. It just has to be for you, because your mental health is very important.
Okay, so you heard it from the ladies, and thank you for being part of the show. Like they said, strike a balance. Do what makes you happy. Do what brings you fulfillment. See, we sitting here talking, doing everything, or bringing you entertainment and education is because it's what makes us feel fulfilled. I love my job. Aside everything I do on the side, this brings me so much fulfillment. So find what makes you fulfilled. If it's about raising your kids, if it's about just loving your husband or your wife or whatever, just do it. Do what makes you happy. Forget society. Society will always have an opinion, but just make sure that whatever you're doing is not affecting any other person in a negative way or light. That would be just about it. Thank you for your comments that came through. Sorry I couldn't read them. I promise to do better next week. But my name is Oforiwaa, and this has been The Dish right here on MX24 TV. Stay tuned for more shows coming right up.